Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the Serious Strategy Gamer and it is Friday, so we are continuing our Fridays for Future Let's Play of Democracy 4, where we're trying to turn the United States into a greener, more ecological society. So let's just recapitulate where we stand and then let's head out what we're going to do in this episode. So, this is the third episode, and in our first episode, we did go ahead and change a lot of things. Can we actually see that over here? I don't think we can see it over here, but we must be able to see it over here. So, in the first couple of quarters that we had, so about the first 1.5 years I want to say, we did a lot of smaller changes. We tried to move the society to a more ecological future, and we did so by just tweaking mostly things about the car consumption. So for example, telecommuting initiative, car emission limits, better carpooling campaigns, a lot of bicycle campaigns, and some pollution control. So let's say these are very conservative measures that nevertheless are trying to push our environment in the right direction. Now, that has worked out to some degree, but not really as much as we would hope it to be. So you can see all of these measures here that we've done in the first year or so did bring up the environment from, well, it was around 15%, now I guess it's, about 30%. Now it's slightly higher than average, so that is already a great success. But it's not quite enough. And one of the things that we do need to keep in mind is our popularity. And our popularity wasn't doing as great as we would hope that it did. So in our second sort of year, second to third year, we did a lot of other things that were centered around social change. So for example, we defunded the military very aggressively. We did quite a couple of police reforms here, with community policing being introduced, a little bit better police funding in the first place, but also continuing on our ecological path here with reforestation, clean energy subsidies, keep the country tidy campaigns, all of these things that are a little bit better, also smart meters, but also trying to influence society a little bit, and also going to the more long-term things like health food subsidies, eco-regulations at home, and some other things that are just gonna make people a little bit more healthy. So that is fine, but at the same time we want to address conservatism a little bit, because we found that conservative voters are not quite in favor of us, so we want to reduce their influence on society at least a little bit, like decreasing gated securities and gated communities and all of that. So let's see how good that is gonna go for us. Now, one of the big changes I want to do this time around is we need to be yet more aggressive on the car consumption. You can see that the car usage here is still leading to respiratory diseases, it's leading to obesity, it's decreasing our environment, all of this you can see here on the bottom half of the screen, and it's also of course leading to CO2 emissions. So that's not great, even though these are coming down nicely, that is not great. We still need to address car usage, and we need to address it aggressively, much more so than we've done so far. And the way that I want to do that is I want to ban cars from cities. This is a big change in Democracy 4. It requires 40 political capital. And we don't have 40 political capital, we only have 20 political capital. So this is going to be extremely difficult to impose. More importantly, we cannot even save up 40. You can see we have a maximum of 36, and that is very closely tied to the capital that you gain per turn. So to get more political capital per turn, I think we'll have to reshuffle our cabinet. So these are currently our ministers, they do give us some political capital here, and we do need to make some changes here. Simply because some people are not on board with our policies. You can see that Lisa Thompson here, she's environmentalist and capitalist, she's very much on board with what we're doing, so that's nice. But Brandon Moore here, a trade unionist and commuter, he's not so much on board. Commuters are fine, I think. Yeah, you can see commuters are sort of happy, but trade unionists really aren't, and that is largely due to the gig economy, which we will not be able to stop. So he needs to go. We could fire him individually, but that would decrease the happiness of sort of everyone at the same time, so that's not quite ideal. I think what we're going to do here is we need to reshuffle the cabinet. That itself costs 10 political capital, but it will increase that for the future. And the people that I want to fire is this gentleman here, who has sympathies on religion and patriot. So, honestly, no, he's not going to be long term with us. Then these two are people here with very low political capital contributions. And I do think there's one more thing that I do need to do, and that is I need to fire her from her current post because she's gonna be employed in a different role. And the reason for that is I went through, in between episodes, I went through all of these potential cabinet ministers here, and yeah, they just need to be set up a little bit differently. I'm tempted to fire Louis Cooks over here because he's on board with people who probably are going to lose some happiness very, very soon. But honestly, for now, I just don't have a good replacement for him. And for now, he's still kind of happy. But yeah, long term, he'll probably needs to go. Let's reshuffle our cabinet and let's hire new people over here. So the first one that we're going to hire is Angel Torres. He's interested in transport. He's environmentalist. He is good for retired people. He's kind of good at campaigning too, so yes, he's going to be our transport minister, and that is a fine choice. Let's go for the economy here, Minister of Industry. And for this, I would very much like to hire Lisa Thompson over here. Remember, she was our foreign minister, she's environmentalist, capitalist. I'm very, very happy to have her on board, so that is great. Welfare, I think we do have a decent choice. Let me just briefly check on who I wanted. Oh yeah, Stephanie Clark. So where are you? Over here. Stephanie Clark, she's interested in the job. She's not great. She's with liberals who are a little bit happy, but they have some concerns, and she's with parents. Now, parents are currently horrible. Parents hate us, but it's not going to last for that long. And now for the foreign minister. Now, this is a much more complicated choice, because honestly, we don't have that good material here. Look at that. This is the person currently the most loyal to us, and she's a motorist, religious motorist. She is not going to be happy with us for a long time. Self-employed capitalist, you might actually be a decent-ish choice. But I was thinking about maybe Caleb Turn over here. He's not that happy. He's a capitalist. That's just generally not very good for us. But he's also environmentalist, so I think he served with us for some time. So yeah, let's use him. And I think that's fine. So that does give us, I think, a better cabinet. It's not perfect, but it is fine, and it does give us 20 capital per turn, and that means we can, over the long term, save up 40 political capital, if we can keep it at that level. So let's hope that that is something that we can do. I think we should try to, well, get a couple of people here to be a little bit more happy. And we've got 10 political power to do that still, and let me just briefly check on what I wanted to do. So there are a couple of things that we probably cannot address right now. Like limiting or banning cars and cities, 40 political capital, way out of our league. So honestly, I think these are not things that we can do for now. I would like to at some point, I think it's under tax, isn't it? Yeah, microgeneration grants. Now these might be useful because it's helping the environment, it's driving up environmentalists. In happiness and membership, it's increasing energy efficiency, so that would not be bad. That's kind of a good thing to do. But for now, I don't think it's gonna be overly great. Specifically as we need to make some of our ministers more happy here. So what I want to do then is do just a couple of small things that are still incredibly helpful. So art subsidies. Liberals are extremely happy about that. That's gonna be nice. Capitalists are not going to like it that much, but what can we do? Foreign relations are going to go up. That's nice. Education is going to go up. Liberalism is going to go up, so more people are going to be not conservative. That's great. It's only costing us 3 political power, so I think that is fine. And then we've got the free school meals. I think I would like to increase that. That will make parents a little bit more happy. It's going to lead to more parents. It's going to decrease obesity, which is also very nice. And yeah, yet another health boost, so that is fine. Let's go ahead and do that. That is costing us another 3 political power, so don't have that much left. Could go for the tourism campaign. Don't think that's really required. Plastic bags, no, it would make capitalists yet more unhappy. And I don't want to overdo it on them, so you know what? I think this is fine. Let's go ahead and the turnover here. And a couple of things are happening. Some of them good, some of them not. So, antisocial behavior is gone. That is going to be nice. Alcohol abuse, also gone. Very, very nice. These are the consequences of our police reform, and that is just leading to a better society here. On the other hand, we don't have a private space industry anymore. That is going to be not so great for patriots. We can't do that much about it. And we do need to think about whether we are going to extradite a terror suspect. Why is that capitalized? I don't know. Anyway, the choices here are between keeping him here or extraditing him. Extraditing would potentially subject them to torture, so that's not what we're going to do. We're going to keep him here. It's going to lead to more liberal happiness, and that is fine. And let's briefly check on how things are going. So economy is increasing, health is increasing, education is somewhat stable, unemployment is coming down. That's nice to see. Crime is basically non-existent anymore because the alcohol abuse and antisocial tendencies have gone down, and poverty is also going to go down nicely. So that's great. Actually, election report, we are doing relatively fine. This is our party. We've got 4 million activists and nearly 68 million members. That's kind of big. So yeah, that's nice. Let's just briefly check on whether or not we have any chance of decreasing the respiratory disease over here. I don't think so, because the environment is probably going to go down as our economy is increasing. Yeah, so this is really the big issue that we are facing here. We could accumulate 40 political power, so I'm going to be extremely tempted to achieve that next turn, because I'm not sure whether we're going to get whether we can retain that level of political power for the long term. So we need to, we will be getting 20 per turn, so we can only spend 4 this turn and not more. So we are very limited over here. I don't think there's much that we can do with 4 political power, honestly. So probably none of this. Plastic bags, it's kind of a nice thing, but really not that important. I would really like to go for the junk food tax. Anything that we can do in transport for 4 political power? No, not really. Law and order. Honestly, law and order, none of this is super important for us. Food labeling, no, that's too big. Public libraries, no, that's too big too. No, well, it's not about no. It's all kind of, I think it's all just too expensive to do. 4 political powers is just very, very little that we have got to spend here. So, on the other hand, anything that we want to increase in terms of what we are currently already financing, so we could go, I think the limited automated trading, yeah, increasing that would be nice-ish, but everyone would hate it, so I don't think that's a good thing to do. Increasing minimum wage, I don't think that is our priority right now, so I think that's all fine. We don't need to do anything specifically. No, all of this is fine for now. We could go for a little bit more state broadcaster rights here. Socialists would like that. Honestly, I don't think this is that important for us. Food Standards Agency. Now, you might be better off because it's going to lead to more plant-based diets. It's going to increase the food price, but I think we're going to be fine. Obesity, if that could go away, that would be fantastic. Farmers don't really like that, but liberals do. So, yeah, let's actually use that for 2 political power, and I think that's perfectly fine then. Anything else we can do for 2 political power? Honestly, I don't think so. So let's accept that we're going to earn a little bit less over here, and just go into the next turn. We've got an issue here with the richest company paying no taxes. Socialists hate that, but socialism is going to go up. So that means that we're going to get more socialists and less capitalists, which is a good thing for us, even though these people are not really that great for us. Right now, we've got a new party donor, so that's nice. Cyberbullying is not really an issue, I think, so that's okay too. How's the GDP doing? It's coming slightly down, which is good for us because it's going to lead to a better state of the environment. Ooh, Jesus, this is going down dramatically. We really need to tackle this aggressively, and you know what? We do have the 40 political power. So I'm going to go for transport here, and we are going to ban cars and city. This is the big one for us. So yeah, let's implement this. It's going to drive down car usage dramatically. It's going to really screw with the opinion of motorists. Environmentalists are going to be very happy, but, and here's the good thing, it's also going to bring down the membership in motorists. So motorists are not going to be happy, but there's also not going to be that many of them. So I think this is fantastic. Let's do that. That's pretty much all that we can do for this turn, but I'm really interested to see how that is going to go. Obesity is actually ticking up again, and I think that's a consequence of the GDP development there. But This is the big one. This is what I want to watch over here. Car usage. How is that going to develop over time? So we've got another dilemma over here. So people smuggling, we can deport the refugees or we can allow them to stay. You know what, just as a green policy, I think just generally there's nothing specifically environmentalist about allowing them to stay. But you know what, it's going to be what we are going to do over here. So ethnic minorities, liberals like that, conservatives and patriots don't. That's fine. And we're coming to the election period. So since that is happening, we can try to make certain categories of the society a little bit happier in exchange for some other categories. So that is interesting. How many elections have we got? So 3 turns and we're going to face the next election. Let's see just what we can do until that point. Let's also see whether we have an effect here on car usage already. It's gonna take some time for this to be implemented. You can see this is taking 9 turns here to be completely implemented. So it's gonna come down, but it is gonna take a while until really car membership is gonna go down. Environmentalism is increasing though, so that's nice to see. We can already see there's a small effect from here, 1 percentage point, but you know what, it just keeps on being added to one another. Also the economy is coming down slightly, but it's not a big issue. We've got a very hefty surplus over here, which is largely driven actually, I do think, by the fact that we've defunded the military almost completely. So yeah, that is kind of interesting to see. Overall, we are very popular, so I don't think we need to struggle with that too much. But I would like to, actually, I would really like to get rid of the obesity over here, simply because that is increasing the health costs. And I mean, healthcare or health as a society is doing relatively fine. Respiratory diseases are coming down here, but yeah, really tobacco usage is still kind of high. Even though we've got a tobacco campaign in place, but it's taking a while to get through grid, so honestly, tobacco usage is still a big issue over here. And it's only being driven by these things. So the question is, are we going to increase tobacco usage a little bit more? It's going to make everyone a little bit more unhappy. It's going to lead to more poverty, but it would decrease this a lot. Right, okay, let's spend, you know what, let's spend a political power here. It's going to drive down tobacco usage quite a bit, and that is potentially going to make parents happier in the long term. So I think this is good. The other things that I would like to do is do a junk food tax here. Simply so that we can get rid of obesity. We're going to increase plant-based diets a little bit more. And everyone's income is going to be negatively affected, and the youth is not going to be happy about that. But honestly, I think that's fine. Plant-based diets is going to come up very much. Yeah, and young voters are important, but they're not the most important for us right now. So I think this is fine actually. This is not too bad at all. Right, we could fund our schools a little bit better as well. So that would increase the education level. It would drive down private schools quite a bit, but honestly at some point this is not even that important. But it's not really popular, so maybe what we should actually do is look at campaign speeches here in a second. Just where's that? Parties? Yeah, speeches. No, yeah, I would need more political power. So that's fine. Let's click on the next one over here. Let's look at the dilemma that we've got. So housing expansion. There's a shortage of homes in our country. So we could relax the planning law or keep planning restrictions. Now this one, honestly, I'm a big fan of relaxing planning laws because housing shortage is a real problem in a lot of societies. And you just need to be flexible, and urbanization is a big impact that you can have on the environment in a positive way, because just urbanization is leading to a much denser population, and you need a lot less territory if people live in cities compared to rural lands. Nevertheless, we're going to keep the planning restrictions here in keeping with the environmentalist playthrough here. So yeah, I think this is simply what we're going to do. Right, let's look at some of the campaign speeches. Now, Ultimately, we could make, for example, state employees a little bit happier here at the expense of the self-employed. We could also increase the happiness of farmers, of patriots. Let's briefly look at that and see how we are doing in terms of our cabinet. So the lowest people here are actually, well, liberals and parents, capitalists. Capitalists are very, very unhappy, and we've got a couple of people who are actually capitalists by nature. So I think it would be great if we could make some sort of meaningless speech to the advantage of capitalists. Not necessarily screwing with the socialists, but is there anything that we can do for you? No, honestly there's not. So if we were to make a statement on the benefit of capitalists, that would be not so great for socialists. And it would have a disproportionate impact here on socialists. Now there are a lot less socialists than there are capitalists, but how does it look in terms of our cabinet? So we've got some socialist members over here, but we've got 2 capitalists, and I do want to retain at least both of you. So that would be great. But I don't think we can. You know what? Let's focus on the environment and let's simply do what we're here to do. And one thing I would like to do is do the Green Electronics Initiative. It has a couple of good effects. It's going to decrease CO2 emissions, it's going to decrease the pollution, increase energy efficiency, so just great in that regard. But it's also going to avert the rare earth crisis, and since we've got a good level of technology, this might hit us at some point, so just recycling, even from a very capitalist point of view, should actually be a very good thing over here. Capitalists don't like it, but there we go. It's just something that needs to be done at some point. Good. That being said, I don't think there's that much more that we can do for political capital over here. We could do a little bit more science funding. How's our energy efficiency looking? Pretty great, actually. So that's not too bad. CO2 emissions are coming down further, so that's nice. And I do think they're going to come down further as car usage here begins to plummet. So that's nice. Ooh, and respiratory disease. That would be huge. If we could avert that before the election, that would make parents happy a lot. Oh, look at that. Housing market booms. House prices have hit a record high. This is a good indication that our economy is going from strength to strength. Yes, but it's also messing with the poor. It's going to make the healthy happy, and it's going to increase the generational wealth gap as older people who tend to own homes are doing much better than the younger people. Not good for us. Not good for us. And that might actually be an effect here of our housing regulations. So, well, it happens. We could make some manifesto campaign, so just some promises for the next time. I don't think this is something that we necessarily want to see. Oh, yeah, sure. I'm going to increase equality by 50% if it's currently at 59%. So that's percentage points, mind you, so we would need to increase it to... No, it's just not possible. Ooh, gender equality. This is pretty horrible for the moment. Why is that so bad? Family planning. Religious and conservatives would hate that, but yeah, that is something that in reality I would very much love to look at. But you know what? We are focused on the economy over here, so yeah, it's just not something that we'd want to do. So, 25 political power, I think we're doing relatively fine. Obesity should be coming, really, you should be coming down. I mean, I did the junk food tax. What else can I... Yeah, it's going to take a while to be implemented. And respiratory diseases are coming down, which is largely, I think, due to car usage. Which is coming down ever so slowly. This is a really gradual process over here. There's not that much that we can increase in terms of transport. I mean, yes, we could ban these, but it's probably gonna... Okay, that would drive down car usage. It would drive down all of these things, which is good. Environmentalists would be happy. Electric car transition would increase, and CO2 emissions would come down too. This might be a good choice for us to do here. I would actually also like to do high-speed rail subsidies, because it would drive down car usage, but it also would drive down air travel. It's going to drive down unemployment, productivity is going to go up, and commuters are going to be happy about that. You know what? Let's do this over here. And that should be fine. Specifically since Hyperloop 340 miles per hour railway lines here are going to be super useful. It's immensely costly, but we do have a nice surplus. So I think this is a good choice to do. Anything else in terms of transporting? Congestion charging? No. I would actually like to bring down the motorist numbers. Oil demand. Okay, this might be nice. It's gonna increase everything. It's gonna increase also the happiness of motorists, which is kind of interesting. Car usage would go up, so I don't want to do that. Anything else here that's sort of a nice grab at low costs? Well, microgeneration grants. CO2 emissions down, environmentalists down. Well, all of this is nice. You know what, let's implement that. It's going to also increase the membership of environmentalists, so that's nice. It's going to be costly, but again, we do have the money, so I think this is fine and fantastic. Let's see what the election is going to bring over here. I'm very positive about this because I think we've done a great job here since... Really? Eat the poor? Since we have done a great job in trying to keep everyone on board. But you can definitely see that the ecologists and I think the socialists are very much in favour for us. So yeah, the Green Alliance here, this is our party, this is the non-voters and the enemy party over here. And you can see we are turning out with 200 million votes over here. That's a very, very significant number here. So our turnout is pretty nice because it's boosted by all of our guys. But you can see that the opposition here is actually the better funding for their campaign, but they only get 4% of the votes. So that is extremely nice here, and I'm gonna be very, very happy about that. Now, anything that we want to change up over here? Well, honestly, I don't think we do. I think for now our cabinet is somewhat stable, so we're gonna keep it at that and think about the ban of livestock imports. For the mouth, yes, I think we want to ban that because, yeah, it's going to lead to low... Ooh, that's much lower foreign relations than I would like to see. There's a danger to that because if foreign relations are going to come down very low while you have very low military funding, which we do, it's basically ceremonial only, there might be some issues in regards to their meddling in our affairs, so that's not great. But let's look at car usage. That's over here. It is definitively coming down, so I would think that the respiratory diseases over here, I mean, we didn't get them to stop before, but it's nice to see that they're doing that now, and the environment guys here is taking off very much, even as we have a very high GDP. So I think this is the perfect state where everyone keeps on living in good conditions, but we do take care of the environment. So that is definitely nice to see. CO2 emissions here coming down ever so aggressively, so that is very much great to see. Very, very happy about that. So yeah, how about obesity? Are you still coming down? Yeah, you are. And you're going to be coming down further, right? Well, now this is maxed out. This is going to have an impact of 4 more percentage points. That's nice. Yeah, but the junk food tax. I think the junk food tax is going to help out with that immensely. Hospital overcrowding. Well, that's interesting. So you would be nearly below the stop trigger. So if we could bring you down a little bit, parents and the retired would like that a lot. So healthcare demand is coming down here. What is that being driven by? Okay, there's still the deadly virus outbreak, but that is going to go down slightly. Health is maxed out already, so that means the overcrowding here is, yeah, I think being driven down by that mostly. Well, the issue here is to bring that really down via the state health services. That would be kind of difficult. You can see the sort of the slope over here, but the slope on that one. It's sort of similar, so both of these have a potential to bring it down by, let's say, 45 percentage points or so. Yeah, 40, yeah. They're pretty much equal in what they can do, so for the hospital overcrowding, one really is as good as the other. And if we would increase our state healthcare services, it would drive down private healthcare services by a lot. And this is not even linear. So, is it a slope of greater than 1 though? It's not, I think, right? So, if we were to do this, if we were to bring it up from here, let's say to here, that would be a 10 percentage point reduction in private healthcare. Well, it's probably also a 10% point jump here. So, yeah, you're just crowding out private investment by using state investment. So, honestly, on the hospital overcrowding, it just doesn't do anything, I think. What is private healthcare being driven by? Is there anything that we could do to increase that? We could increase the healthcare tax credits. Socialists don't like that because it's sort of a capitalist way to do things. And it is expensive in terms of money. But it would have the potential of providing more private healthcare while not being specifically bad for everything else. So you know what? We're going to do that even though it's slightly out of the theme. But if we can get rid of the hospital overcrowding, I think everyone is going to be much more happy, and that is nice. One more thing that we could do over here potentially is reduce our spending on roads. Motorists wouldn't be happy, but that's fine. Car usage would come down a little bit. It's honestly not that much, but it would save us some money here. And it's not that expensive to do that dramatically. Spend 11 political power on that. Yeah, I think this is what we'll do. Reduce the expenditure on that by quite a bit, so that's very, very nice to see. Look at that, everyone here is happy except for Stephanie Clark. Why? Liberals and parents. Well, parents are still screwed over by these two things down here, but I do think that we have a chance here of fixing these things. Last thing that we want to do then is increase the diplomatic service over here, just to make sure that our foreign relations are doing a little bit better. It's not going to cost that much money, so yeah, I think this is fine. You know what, let's go until the next thing over here and see what we can do in terms of the environment. Just see where we stand over here. Oh, there's a situation imminent. Yeah, this is what I've been talking about. So cyber warfare, and because we aren't really not spending that much on our military, the effect here is being driven by the GDP, but also by relatively bad foreign relations. So if we could increase foreign relations, it's less likely that people are going to do cyber warfare on us. Yeah. We might also want to increase the intelligence service spending. So that is going to make liberals not that happy. But it just might be something that we need to do to prevent cyber warfare from happening in our society. Well, that being said, let's actually just look at the car usage as it's beautifully coming down here, and that is indeed very nice. Respiratory disease, I think it's going to go away very, very soon, as is probably going to be the obesity, and hopefully the overcrowding here as the private healthcare is starting to get some grit here in addition to the public healthcare. So I think it would be fantastic to just increase that here a little bit and be able to get a decent amount of healthcare and prevent the hospital overcrowding, make everyone more happy, get us more political power, and get us closer to zero emission targets here. That would be fantastic. That being said, I think now is a perfect place to put in a cut. So I hope to see you guys again next Friday when we're going to continue our series here and hopefully actually get to a zero emission society already. That would be fantastic, wouldn't it? Just lastly, how's the environment doing? Oh guys, this is beautiful. 68% or so over here, so that is very, very nice, and I do think it is going to come up again by just some of these things. For example, the hybrid cars initiative. By the way, how is the electric car transition going? It could be going a little bit better, honestly, but you know what? CO2 emissions are already pretty down, and oil demand is decreasing over here again and again, so that is nice. And I do think air travel is going to be decreased by our high-speed rail lines over time, isn't it? Well, just minimally, actually. Interesting. Well, we're going to look at that next time around, so do leave a like and all of that, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye-bye!